Welcome to the Day One Podcast. I'm Adam Daly, and it is good to be back. Thanks, everybody, for your patience with us. I know that we definitely want to get this out more frequently to you. I think it's a great way for us to communicate kind of insider stuff that's going on here in the business, and talk about updates, tips, tricks, and having users come on and talk about their use and how they've benefited from Day One, I think is a really valuable resource to help you get the most out of this software. I've been doing a lot of thinking these past couple of months. I don't know if I've shared this, but I'll get a little personal here with you if you don't mind, and then we'll dive into it. But I've had a lot of time to reflect over these past couple of months. My father passed away, and it's been an interesting time of reflection, and I'm grateful for all the people who've come together and expressed their love and sympathy and stuff like that. But it's also been really helpful and cathartic to get into my journal, to express my feelings throughout that whole process, and I was really grateful for that. And I don't mean to capitalize or monetize on that kind of experience, but just kind of real talk here. I was really grateful for that opportunity to. I even wrote some of my remarks and feelings during the services and planning stages in Day One, and used that kind of as a tool. And I'll have, obviously that's not a joyous memory to look back on, but I'll see, what was going on during those times when I have a chance to go back and look back through on this day or through whatever, when I go back and review my posts. I think we've talked about this. There's lots of emotional benefits to journaling, and it was definitely helpful for me. And I'm now a walking witness of that, and I can tell you that for me it was very helpful to process things emotionally, to when I don't always have opportunities to do so otherwise, and I can be as free and as open as I can be here with the app, and it's with me wherever I want, so that's really awesome. And I hope I hope you have negative experiences that you want to write down and stuff, but try it out. See how that works for you. See how you can get through things differently, and maybe that'll help for the future as well, as you can, life is full of challenges. And I think Day One is a great way to record what you're going through and see how you've grown. I just started a new journal recently called Personal Growth, because I'm looking for ways to better myself professionally, personally, with my family, with friends, and just really improve and take advantage of the opportunities that are afforded us these days. And so I've started recording those things in my new personal growth journal, and I'm going to track and see how I'm doing, and I'm going to set goals, something I haven't done in a long time, probably since I was in college, but I'm going to set goals, and I'm going to work hard to meet those things. And I think it's a great way to track that information and look back on things and follow up and keep going. So I hope you're finding joy in doing those things, in recording your thoughts and your memories, and I hope it brings you joy to look back on some of those as well. And I hope if it's not necessarily a positive memory, that you look back and maybe can look how you've grown and how you've changed, how you've adjusted from that, or maybe that's the time to look for improvements. Anyway, that was my short little tangent. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for tuning in today to the podcast. I'm going to talk about a little bit about some updates, what's coming down the pipeline, and then I've just got a few extra tidbits for today. So not a huge episode, but we're going to get working on having this more consistently and getting back to what you want. Now, this is a call to help for those of you that do listen. I know there's at least a couple of thousand of you, so if you're interested in sharing your story with us, and you've got maybe a different perspective or unique use of Day One that you'd like to share and give some insight on, please write us at podcast@dayoneapp.com, and we will try to fit you in the schedule and get, not that it's a busy schedule, I'm saying we'll set something up so that we can have a talk and maybe get you on the show. If you're comfortable with that. Obviously, if you're not, you probably won't reach out to me. So updates, everybody, things have been going great. Usually the team will do a larger update closer to the end of November-ish. And then December is all working through bugs and performance improvements and stuff like that. So we're not pushing out something major right before the end of the year and people are doing holidays and stuff like that. So there haven't been a ton of major new feature updates since the holidays, but we're back into that, getting into the, we're in the grind, working on some things right now. First and foremost, something that was requested by a lot of our users on iOS, the search function is now at the top, right on your timeline. So you can tap that magnifying glass and jump right into search without having to go into the journal drawer. This was a big request from a lot of our users. We had a banner up there at first for a bit. Now it's just that magnifying glass. I think it looks slick. Really cool. There's also a little tip here. If you're on the timeline view, if you just pull down, like on some apps it would be like pull down to refresh or something like that. If you pull down, it will pull up the search field as well. So you don't actually have to tap the magnifying glass, just another little gesture, a shortcut there for you. Speaking of shortcuts, a lot of great stuff has gone into improving our interaction with the Shortcuts app, previously known as Workflow. If you're familiar with that and you've got shortcuts running, it is a great way to automate some things. You can pull in data from other things, from other apps and stuff like that. It is really, really powerful. So this is from the release notes. And if you want to see these, you can go to help.dayoneapp.com for details. But it says, we've rebuilt the Day One Shortcuts integration to include new actions for create, append, find, open, and show. So with these new optional parameters, you can do multiple images, templates, tags, date, location, video and audio support coming in the future. Really powerful stuff. You can have it like pull information from the Health app and throw it into an entry in Day One. It's really cool. Also, and this is just a cosmetic thing, but I think it's really cool and fun. We've added custom app icons for iOS. So you can go into the Day One settings on iOS, scroll down to find app icon, and find a bunch of different options that you can choose. Different colors, and there's even a couple of different ones with different icons. This might be cool if you don't want anybody to know where your journal is per se if they're familiar with Day One. Anyway, cool app icons, check those out. On iPadOS, now with iPadOS, we have the ability to do dual screen stuff. And so there is a new open entry and new window on iPadOS. There's a little icon at the top right of your entry. Tap that and it'll pull it into its own separate window. So you can work on two entries at the same time or be looking at one and writing in one. Really cool feature there for iPadOS. On Mac, template creation and editing has been added to version 4.6. So if you haven't downloaded that version, go to the App Store right now on the Mac and check out the updates for that. So the template creation and editing will be in the system preferences, or you can click settings in the journal sidebar there on your Mac app and get to the templates. So you can add those there, create them, edit them, etc. And they should be syncing between devices, so you should have all your templates that you've been using on iOS right now. The other big thing for Mac, we released a new Safari extension. For some time it was not working, and so we had to rebuild it and resubmit it to Apple, and now it is part of the Mac package. Now with that, you do have to go into Safari preferences and enable that. But once you do, there's a little icon for Day One in the Safari browser up at the top. You click on that, and it will add the current page or URL that you're looking at right there. If you highlight text on a web page and then click the Day One icon, it will add that highlighted text in the entry itself, and then also you can write in it and add more comments to it if you like. You can also switch the journal, add tags. You can open that browser, the Safari extension in a new window, so it looks like a Day One entry. You can just get typing right away. So very cool thing. Check that out. More information on help.dayoneapp.com. All right, what else do we have here? We have improved video importing and processing, so that should go a lot faster now. We were seeing some heavy CPU usage before. We've streamlined that and improved that. Check that out. And we also allow other audio types being included in your entries. So you can drag in WAV files, MP3s, and FLAC, and they will be supported in Day One. Now, I know a lot of you have questions about Android, about the web. I don't have any updates at this time. Thank you for your patience. Certainly, we know we're working against what we've got and making sure that we can move forward positively. Android, From a business perspective, it's a huge market. And obviously, we're a business and we want to keep it that way. But there have been some delays, and we apologize for that. It is not intentional. We're working on it as quickly as we can. The web app, no updates just yet. The team is still working on a big back-end project that must be completed first. And then once that's done, we can get working on the web and get that out to you. So, and the other big thing that I want to talk about here just briefly, I've mentioned this a couple of times before, but we are working on a completely revamped way of doing our PDF exports, which will also impact book printing. What we're working on is improving the layouts, making it look more like what your entries look like in the app. And that's going to be really cool. I'm really excited about that. I know many of you have tried out book printing. We've had feedback about those things, and we hear you. We absolutely hear you. We're working on that stuff. It is a big project. We're hoping it'll be ready by late summer 2020. Okay, so if you're looking at doing a book and it could wait until then, I would think about waiting. That's just a personal recommendation. That's not official party line, but I think that's going to be really, really cool. So, what else? Just stuff under the hood, working on bug fixes and things like that. Thanks for your reports that you write into us about. We appreciate those. We do our best to try and test each beta for a full week with our external testers and internal testers and try to get the best version out there to you. Obviously, bugs are definitely not intentional. We want to make sure we're giving you a quality project. Thank you for those that support us through the subscription. That is amazing. We had a chance to sit down and look at some end-of-year final stuff, and we're honored to be supported by our users. We wouldn't be here without you, and we're so thankful. All right. Those are the updates I have for today. More stuff coming down the line, and I'll try to be a little better at being more consistent with this, with the podcast and delivering that information to you. But you can also find this on our help pages or on the App Store release notes. You can always find our information there. And we try to be as detailed as possible, rather than just a blanket short statement of, this contains bug fixes. I know sometimes larger companies do that without getting into the details. We try to provide as many details as possible so that you can see what's going on and be aware of those things. If you have any questions or need help with something, write into support. Links below here in this episode if you need that information. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about today was streaks. Now, I've received some mostly good feedback on this. People are really enjoying this, and I've seen that people are posting their streaks, like on the Day One community page or on Twitter, and I think this is great. For me, it's a subtle way to keep motivated and writing consistently. I've always said, define journaling for yourself. I think that's one of the things I've repeated most on this show is define journaling for yourself. What does that mean? Because I've had questions like, well, what do I put in here? Or how do I separate things? Or how do I do tags? Or how do I do separate journals? What would I put in there? And I think that's awesome. That is the freedom for you to decide what that looks like. Do you want to have a bunch of different separate journals for work, personal, spiritual, hobby, whatever it is? Or would you rather use tags? Or do you want to write down all of the minutia throughout the day? Or do you just want to highlight the bigger events? Do you want to add photos or media? It's what you make of it. And sometimes that may take a moment to sit down and decide what that is, or trying out different things and figuring out what fits for you. But for me, I just want to say that I think the streaks is awesome at helping me stay consistent. I don't always write a ton of stuff. Sometimes it's just a few sentences or a photo or an audio recording about what happened. I've just found that the consistency for me has been very, very helpful. With that, I received a message from a user on Twitter, has an incredible streak of over 3,000 consecutive entries and over 10,000 total entries. I thought this was an incredible feat. What a cool thing. And this is not a competition. We're not racing to be the first one at 10,000 total entries or 3,000 consecutive streak. This is just about him and his experience. I asked him about it and wanted to get to know, what was their routine? How do you use Day One? What benefits have you found from it? And this is their reply. Quote, I find I'm a lot less stressed for journaling regularly. If I've got a problem that needs solving or a decision to make, I'll, quote, talk to myself through it in a day one entry. Even if I don't find the solution there, and then it helps to see it all in writing, so we can see all that stuff there. Continuing the quote, it helps me remember a lot more about what I've done as well, just rereading an old entry and start of a chain or recalling things that I might not have even written about. And then finally, I've got a gratitude journal as well as a way, I have a gratitude journal as well as a way to help me focus more on at least one positive thing that has happened in the week gone by. So this user has found what works for them, and it's that consistency. Now, I don't have details about if they use reminders or anything like that. I definitely should ask those things and find out. But that can be a great way. With the templates, if you're looking more for a structured kind of bullet journaling or something like that, you can add reminders to day one, as many as you want, include specific templates with really cool, powerful things where you can add headers or checkboxes or whatever. If you want to do a meal log, set up these reminders to go off when you want them to go off and build that habit. Get that habit going, be journaling regularly. I think you'll find benefits similar here to this user, where maybe just talking to yourself through a project or through a problem, you may not find the solution right away, but it helps to kind of see the thought process that's going through, or helping your memory by recalling events that maybe you wouldn't have recorded otherwise. And then finally, I love the gratitude journal. We've talked a lot about this. We've had a couple of dedicated episodes about it where you write down what you're grateful for. I did this when we did our book club, and we did a book on gratitude. I started going. I was going great. It was hard to do it every day for me. I didn't want to be forcing the issue. And so now I just try to do it when I'm noticing things that I'm grateful for. I find that's helpful for me, and it really helps me not take those things for granted as I write them down and show my gratitude, at least in that way. Or maybe I express that to the person that's helped me, or whatever it is. Writing it down has been a great way to capture those things. So anyway, how has consistent journaling helped you? That's what I would like to know. Do you consistently journal? If not, again, consistency may be once a week, as long as you're doing it every week. Consistency may be less or more than that. But as long as you're keeping it consistent, I think that's going to be an awesome way to build that habit. Last thing I want to talk about just real quick, our Facebook community. We are up to 5,596 members there. Thank you so much to those who have joined and have contributed in any way on there. It's awesome. I love seeing the community talk to each other. I go on there every once in a while. I'll make a comment here and there, maybe address some needs. But this is for you. This is the community page where you talk about how to get the most out of it. And I think what you've been doing is awesome. Thank you to those that contribute. Thank you to those that ask questions or answer questions or share ideas. Thank you so much to Mike and Michelle for their continued assistance as our moderators. They do a fantastic job, and we appreciate the heck out of them. Lots of good stuff coming down the pipeline. Ever since I started here almost 4 years ago now, we've talked about Day One as being a lifetime app, and we truly believe that. We believe that this is one of those apps that should be around as long as you are, for a place to keep your memories and then have a way to share those memories with others, either through a PDF export or book printing or however that works for you. But we really think there's great benefits that come out of Day One, and we thank all of you for your continued support for us, and we will keep working as hard as we can for you. That's all I've got for this week, but I've got a renewed determination to keep this going and keep this up. So thank you for your patience in waiting this out. If you need any assistance, please reach out to support. There are links below. You can go to our help page, help.dayoneapp.com. There's a whole bunch of tutorials, troubleshooting suggestions, etc. Check those out. I try to do my best at, showing those via screenshots or GIFs, whatever needs to be done there, however is most helpful. Support can also be reached right there on that page. If you click the little chat icon in the lower right corner, you can chat right into support. Or from within the iOS app, there is a chat as well in the settings, in the support section. or you can email us at support@dayoneapp.com. Follow us on our social media pages at Day One App on Twitter and Twitter and Instagram, and then on Facebook we're at Facebook.com/DayOneApp. Anyway, this has been a little casual, but I guess that's how sometimes these always are. Thank you again. We will talk to you soon. This is Adam Daly saying, have a great week, everyone.